I realized something, right? I think a lot and I sit with myself a lot. And this is what I was thinking recently with being in my relationship, right? I've been married for 10 years. We're pushing into our 11th year of marriage, pushing into our 12th year together. Took a 48-hour vacation this weekend, and it's been a long time where we actually, I won't say that we don't enjoy ourselves, but for some reason, this trip was just it. It was the one trip that had us like in a chokehold, and it made us realize, for me, I can speak for myself, like it helped me remember one of the reasons why I originally fell in love with my husband almost 11 to 12 years ago, right? So this was the thing. I remember dating young in high school, little boys, and I was always like a hopeless romantic. I always wanted to be in love. I always wanted to be in a relationship. I was like obsessed with like romantic movies and romantic music, but I always just picked up with lames. Let me just be honest. I always just picked up with lames, and I never picked up with anyone who I felt like was really not even so much meeting the standards, because in high school I didn't have standards. But I mean, I had standards, but it was just more like I didn't know what it meant to be in a relationship. If I liked the boy and he liked me and I felt at the time that he was respecting me, then that's what it was. But I didn't fully know what it meant to have boundaries and set standards, and if he wasn't treating you the way you were supposed to be treated, that you should drop him like a bad habit. I didn't realize that until I got older. And by the time I got older, I had just kind of got used to dating nothing men without me cursing. I had got used to dating them. And then after a while, I had got sick of dating them. So I went and decided I was anti-men. Not that I was going to go date women, but I was just going to take time to focus on me. And then that is when my husband came in. But my point in saying this is, do you remember dating horrible people that really had no value, offered no value? You were technically the upgrade for them. You were the one who was putting in all the effort and all the energy, and it was draining, and you were sad, and you were going through all this turmoil and heartbreak, and then all of a sudden you not even accidentally, because I'm pretty sure it has something to do with like the timing, but you actually meet the person that's for you, and how different that felt. How different it felt to actually be loved correctly, to be liked correctly, to actually build a friendship with the person that you were with, to not have to worry about checking cell phones, not even checking cell phones, but sitting there and that person got their cell phone on vibrate because it's their other girlfriend that you really didn't know about, and you still trying to figure out if y'all in a relationship or a situationship before you even knew what a situationship was back then. You were just in something and you were questioning it every day, and they never made you feel validated, and you just were, drained and feeling like this was all that, life had to offer with these horrible people. And then you finally met somebody that made you realize that fairy tale is really not a fairy tale, that this is actually reality, and you can actually have somebody that loves you and takes care of you and cherishes you, and how different that feels, and how you begin to feel like a little kid. Because I seen a video the other day that says if a man has a woman that acts like a kid or acts like a baby, it's because he's a real man. And if a man has a woman that acts like his mama, it's because he's a kid. I don't know how that works, but I understand it fully, because even like in the last couple of, months, I've just been open to actually taking a step back from my life and actually looking at my life under a magnifying glass, and realizing that a lot of the things that we were complaining about or struggling with in our relationship is because you were carrying a lot of things from your past relationship that you didn't heal, and you were making your partner suffer, or you were suffering because of what you were so used to. And then you had to get to a point where you realized you didn't want that anymore. I had to rebraid this side because it was not given. But yeah, the difference that it feels from sitting and waiting by your phone, or sitting and waiting for somebody to show up and they never do. They tell you they're going to be there too. They're going to be there at 11, don't show up till 2 o'clock in the morning, leave at 5. You sitting there looking stupid, or you just don't hear anything from them at all. And then they call you or text you like nothing ever happened. Like y'all didn't have these big, amazing plans. Like they didn't miss your birthday. Like they didn't make you feel insecure, or they didn't put and project their stuff on you before you even knew what projection was. They made you feel like you was out here doing something wrong, when you knew like God darn well you was faithful to somebody who you wasn't even sure that you was in a relationship with. And then you end up with somebody who doesn't make you question anything, doesn't make you insecure, doesn't make you worried, makes you happy every single day. And even in the days when you aren't happy, they still do things to try to help you through the process of whatever it is that you're going through, because they just add to your happiness instead of taking away from it. Do you know how good that feels and the difference that that makes in your life and how that helps your nervous system. This is not just for women, this is also for men too, because men also meet women who play them same games and have a whole man or a whole baby daddy or somebody that they still dealing with. And then finally you get to a point where y'all start building an actual life together, not you being the one in control, but y'all actually planning stuff, vacations, retirement funds, raising y'all's kids, having healthy, happy relationships with y'all's parents, healing y'all's past, going through, seeking counseling. Have you experienced this yet? Because baby, it's because here's my thing. I feel like we gotta get on these apps a lot more and tell people that love actually is real, especially black love, right? Being in a healthy relationship, waking up to somebody who you rock with and who rocks with you, who's got your back, who supports you through everything. And I know that a lot of the times it's just so much easier to come on and get involved with all this negativity. But what about the positive parts? What about the people who've actually been together, who haven't been in bad relationships, who didn't have to go through cheating or doing anything wrong to each other? Y'all just was really coming in together, figuring it out. As a union, not even just married, but just being in a healthy relationship with each other. Actually having somebody that knows you, for the most part, inside and out, that you got their back and they got your back. And they make you feel good and they actually make you feel happy. Because a lot of the times I feel like we hop on the internet or we see things on the internet where it's all this drama and it's all this, he did this to her, she did this to him. But it's very rare and few that you see couples who actually are showing healthy relationships. And I don't mean just the parts that look good. I mean the whole part, right? The parts where it's like, I know that where I was at, I know what I went through, I know what I experienced, and actually saying that you're good out loud to people. Not that I gotta have you in my household, not that I gotta have you in my business, but as quick as a person's on there to jump online and make a post of somebody breaking their heart and doing something wrong to them, is as quick as we need to jump on and tell that we're being loved correctly as black women. Because for some reason, there's this false pretense that black women do not get loved correctly. And for the most part, I noticed what we are shown is the driving in the car, the princess, the passenger princess. Don't get me wrong, I showed it too, but we never really fully get shown the opposite side. We show you at your house and putting the key in the door and grocery shopping. But what about just those simple, calm days where he just went to work and he handled his business and he paid the bills? He didn't have to do nothing extra. He didn't have to bring you flowers at home. What if it was just you decided you were, or he noticed that you were tired and you were overwhelmed and your nervous system was off and he just decided to clean up the kitchen? He just decided to go in there and make sure that you didn't have to finish the laundry. He just went in and finished the laundry for you. He just went and stopped at the place and picked you up some ice cream just because. It doesn't always have to be a big grand gesture, but just understanding that there are people out here in good, healthy relationships, or relationships that may not be perfect. And I mean perfect as in, just because I love you and you love me don't mean I don't get an attitude from time to time. I don't mean not perfect as in he broke your heart, keyed your car, beat up your daddy. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying maybe it's not perfect because you're one age and he's one age and you guys are trying to figure out where you are, or figuring out where you are in your career, or figuring out what you want for your next step because maybe y'all's kids are older or whatever the situation is. But the little tiny things that are actually huge that we don't seem to celebrate as much. Not that he took me out, got my nails did, hair did, but I had a backache and he realized that I had a backache. So he went and got the heating pad, got me some ice cream and got me some Tylenol and hooked me up on the couch, put on my favorite movie and actually fell asleep pretending like he was watching it with me. Those are the things that I'm talking about.